Afternoon, everybody. You may remember this gigantic pink building from a video I did last year sometime. I've been so busy memorizing information I don't know, but this gigantic building behind me, this big monolith, is the tomb of Charles Ringling, former, I think, partial owner and manager, like production manager of the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, probably back before the 20s. I think he must have passed away in the 30s, I believe. It was like, I'm not sure, 36 or something like that. This gigantic pinkish marble. I did a vlog, and if you guys were here, you saw the vlog that I've done before on Mr. Charles Ringling, the brother of John Ringling, who in Sarasota is considered maybe the more famous brother. John Ringling and Charles Ringling, and I think possibly the other brothers. I think there was 5 original Ringling brothers. Started the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, probably the most famous circus in the world, up till recently when the circus is actually closed. The circus is closed sometime, I think in 2016, the end of 2016. Anyway, so Sarasota has a rich history of circus people, circus families, circus history. Sometime, I'm going to say like in the 50s, was the winter home of the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. That's tough to say. The Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. Look at this this angel sitting on this gravestone right there. I just noticed that. There's like it's almost like a little sad cherub sitting there on this grave. And there's actually a little bird sitting there, but that's actually a real bird. There he goes. So, I didn't come to talk about this specifically, but another famous circus family. Somebody has a squeaky truck. Somebody has a squeaky belt. But another very famous circus family, you might know the name of the Wallenda family. Of course you know Nick Wallenda, not, what did I say? Rick? Rick Wallenda? No, it's Nick Wallenda. Nick Wallenda is a world famous performer, high wire performer, circus performer, holds many records. I believe it was back in 2002 that he actually crossed the Niagara Falls, setting a record as I think the only person to ever successfully crossed the Niagara Falls on a high wire, and since then has gone on to many famous things. He actually lives in Sarasota. I don't know exactly where he lives, but he actually has a home in Sarasota as well as many of his family. Circus performer, tightrope walker, and patriarch of the circus group known as the Great Wallendas, the signature event in the act was a creation by Karl Wallenda known as the 7-Man Pyramid. The pyramid was created by 4 men standing on a wire 35 feet in the air. 2 pairs of men yoked together by shoulder bars. On top of them, on the second level, stood 2 more men. At the pinnacle of this pyramid was a woman standing, then sitting on a chair. This act was the crowning achievement for the Wallendas. They performed it successfully for 14 years, even surviving an earthquake during their performance in South America. However, at the State Fair Coliseum in Detroit, Michigan on January 30th, 1962, the front man in the act lost his balance, causing the collapse of the pyramid and the death of 2 members of the troupe. Another member was paralyzed by the tragic accident. Karl Wallenda himself saved the girl on top of the pyramid by catching and holding her on the second wire until a net could be rigged to catch them. The Wallendas, despite the tragedy, gave an abbreviated performance the very next night. Despite being involved in several tragedies in his family's acts, Wallenda continued with his stunts. In 1978, at age 73, Wallenda attempted to walk between the 2 towers of the 10-story Condado Plaza Hotel in San Juan, Puerto Rico, on a wire stretched 121 feet above the pavement. As a result of the high winds and improperly secured wire, he lost his balance and then fell to his death during the attempt. Weird coincidence with all this Wallenda performing and accidents is that just recently in February of 2017, this year, they did have an accident, and I'm not sure if it was a 7-man pyramid. I can't be sure about that, But it was here in Sarasota, while they were performing with Circus of Sarasota, that they did have an accident where they did fall again, and some of the members of the Wallenda troupe were injured some 55 years after they originally performed in the original tragedy in 1962, I believe it was. So you can actually see on YouTube the video of where Karl actually fell. Not something I really like to watch particularly, but I do remember as a young kid at about the age of 10, I guess it was in 78, so I'd be about 10 years old, that I did see that video. I think it was on ABC Sports or something like that, one of those Saturday shows, where I do remember seeing the highlight footage of Karl falling. And you know, the stuff that I've read and all the information that I've gathered about the events and how people think when they're performers, and what Nick Wallenda has said is that their life is about performing. That is what gives their life purpose. And one of his famous quotes is something to the effect of, life is just moments between the wire, or something like that, or moments. Life is just living between, what is the quote? Life is on the wire, the rest is just waiting. That is the quote that I always read or hear that makes the most sense to me, because I guess the performers feel alive when they're performing, and it's somewhat true to other aspects of life. I know when I'm doing YouTube or doing something I enjoy, that sort of feels like your passion. I can sort of definitely attest to that.